In this extraordinary work, painted on precious flowered alabaster, Antonio Tempesta, a refined and virtuoso painter of the late Renaissance, presents us with an adoration of the shepherds of rare beauty. Tempesta, born in Florence in 1555 and educated in the vibrant and culturally rich environment of the Medici court, developed a distinctive pictorial language composed of luminous vibrations and a sumptuous palette that blends beautifully with the luster of the flowered alabaster, a precious and demanding material. The artist, skilled in depicting minute and narrative details, here displays his compositional sensitivity. Observe the elegance of the procession of shepherds approaching the Holy Family with solemn yet delicate movements, and the light and celestial presence of the angels populating the sky, almost a crown of divine light illuminating the sacred scene below. Tempesta's mastery is expressed in a perfect balance between movement and contemplation, creating a visual harmony that invites the viewer to enter deeply into the scene, to experience the enchantment and intense spirituality of that sacred moment. The work, dating to around the early 17th century, offers us precious evidence of how Tempesta had capitalized on the lessons learned from the great Tuscan masters, combining Michelangelo's formal composure with Pontormo's graceful use of light. A vivid and moving narrative tension pervades the scene, in which each character expresses authentic sentiment, a palpable devotion, almost as if one could sense their emotions, the whispers of prayers, and the suspended breaths before the sacredness of the moment. The painting comes directly from the heirs of the Coppola di Canzano family, a noble Neapolitan family, and according to family tradition, it once belonged to Duchess Maria Clotilde Coppola di Canzano, with the earliest provenance generally referred to as the collection of the Dukes of Canzano. The work is further enhanced by its superb original gilded Roman frame, crowned by a magnificent carved frieze, a true masterpiece of contemporary wooden sculpture, which adds an aesthetic dimension of great artistic and historical significance, amplifying the perception of the overall value of this large painting on flowered alabaster. Significant comparisons can be made with other famous works by the master, such as the splendid work also painted on flowered alabaster preserved in the Galleria Borghese in Rome, which reveals the same compositional and chromatic approach, where each figure is carefully balanced in a harmonious and dynamic rhythm between paint and the properties of the marble, and the one kept in the Segovia Museum, which further highlights Tempesta's narrative talent and technical skill in making even the simplest gospel episode vibrant and engaging. Other important comparisons emerge with two works formerly owned by the Altomani gallery that exploit the veining of marmo Biggio marble from the Apuan Alps, discovered by the Etruscans and prized by the Opificio Mediceo, The Flight into Egypt, painted with refined gold details on grey marble, which masterfully expresses the close dialogue between nature and art through the skillful use of the marble's veining to create the effect of a cloudy sky. And the Saint Raymond of Peñafort, where, in this creation, Tempesta skillfully uses a rare slab of ancient Biggio Antico, whose veining concealed for millions of years both a cloudy sky and a river rushing between the rocks, thus enhancing the miraculous and dramatic setting of the depicted subject in a truly unique work. Studyable comparisons also emerge in two other works formerly owned by the Altomani gallery, painted on the most precious of supports, lapis lazuli. Only the Medici workshop could afford to cut countless large slabs of expensive lapis lazuli to capture a landscape already present within it. Only Antonio Tempesta succeeded in finding and resolving this union in the famous Baptism of Christ, a masterpiece of chromatic and iconographic virtuosity documented in the 1693 inventory of Duke Francesco Borghese and celebrated in the exhibition Lapis Lazuli, Magic of Blue, held in Florence in 2015. In his second work, perhaps the most important, the imposing Rape of Proserpina from the Caetani collection in Rome, offers an exceptional comparison in the masterful use of the natural grain of lapis lazuli to create a surreal and dynamic rendering of the horses, enhancing the scenographic effect and dynamism typical of Tempesta's artistic output. Particularly relevant are the stylistic comparisons with three other works, also formerly in the Altomani gallery, where Tempesta this time selects the now exhausted Paesina stone from the Arno, the Nativity, and a scene with a Roman soldier. These paintings clearly demonstrate Tempesta's skill in treating human figures with detailed expressive realism, confirming the continuity of his refined technique and distinctive narrative style across different works and media. The third, however, uses the Alberese variant due to its rendering of Tuscan rocky and hilly landscapes, depicting the scene of the resurrection of Christ, masterfully exploiting the stone's unique characteristics to create evocative landscape and atmospheric effects, integrating the natural element with a highly scenic pictorial narrative. at sa Pato. For the iconography of the soldiers, a particularly significant comparison is the Battle of Alexander the Great against Darius III, King of Persia, an oil painting on Sicilian green jasper, also by Altomani. Tempesta uses the second hardest stone in the world, jasper. Using a remarkable slab of Sicilian green jasper, which at the time required 2 months to cut alone, he dynamically and realistically depicts the military figures, arranged on the jasper's grain in a gradation of scenic backdrops. Finally, our Adoration of the Shepherds is not only a precious artistic gem, but also a true ideal bridge between the divine and the human, capable of awakening in the viewer that profound sense of wonder and the sacredness of life that, in the most precious masterpieces of the Renaissance, becomes a universal and timeless sentiment, an inexhaustible source of contemplation, emotion, and spirituality. Come and discover it for yourself at our Milan gallery at Via Borgo Spesso 14.